right, welcome to Highly Questionable. Izzy Gutierrez, maybe in somebody else's house. Mike Golic Jr., also maybe in somebody else's house. Let's do television with burglars.
Does a Jimmy G to the Patriots trade make sense?
Oh, you got to say that given that Kyle Shanahan has basically spent his entire life around the NFL and his dad was a head coach, it's really crazy what an amateur he looked like in this press conference yesterday, where he said that even though the 49ers traded up to number 3 in a draft where we know who 1 and 2 were going to be, he traded up to get one guy, but now he likes 5 guys. And, they think they know who they're going to take, but they're not. That does not engender any confidence whatsoever. And if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, he has engendered even less confidence in you. And this is even after they traded up to get your replacement.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
Because, hey, you can't promise that Garoppolo is going to be there because there's a big old for sale sign on him because, again, you are going to draft his replacement. Peter King has raised the question as to whether or not the Patriots would be the team to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, which seems like an obvious move because he used to play for them. Except Jimmy Garoppolo is 29 years old and has had one good season in the NFL. Where is all this faith that everybody has in him? Even the people who like him would have to agree. Whatever success he's had in San Francisco had a whole lot to do with everything that was surrounding him. I watched the Patriots play last year. Wasn't nothing surrounding nothing. They went and got a couple tight ends in the free agency. Good for them. But is Jimmy Garoppolo the answer for them? I cannot see how.
No, but you mentioned the people who liked them. And unfortunately, New England is one of the teams, the original team that really liked him and made him this coveted prospect because Bill Belichick had all these rumors that they thought they had finally found the heir apparent for Tom Brady. But I think that's all going to depend on the price there. If the Patriots are a team that's not going to trade up in the draft, we know good and damn sure their model is you do well for us, you go get paid somewhere else, and we get you back for less than we let you go for. And so that could start to fit into this. I do appreciate in the larger portion of this quote about Jimmy Garoppolo, how they laud him for being a team guy and being in all the Zoom meetings in the offseason program and being with everyone. Like he's got a choice. Like, I'm sorry, unless you're Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or one of these dudes, we'll listen to you then. But Jimmy Garoppolo, at least I will applaud him for having the self-awareness to know I am not that dude, and so I need to make sure that everybody likes having me around in case it doesn't work out with this job.
So let's play this out. Okay, so they traded for Jimmy Garoppolo for a second-round pick, essentially, right? They sign him to an extension, okay? And then they go to this situation where they don't trust him because of his health, and they draft, I don't know, let's say Mac Jones here, and they trade him to the Patriots basically for a second-round pick so they get back what they got. If I'm a 49ers player, like George Kittle, who responded to that quote by saying, hey, I'll text you on Thursday if I'm alive, which makes me wonder if he actually thinks it's funny or if he's being a smart. But you got to think that the players are wondering, what are we doing here? Because there's a ton of questions about Mac Jones. There's a ton of questions about Trey Lance if they were to draft him. And did you really get much of anything out of the Jimmy Garoppolo experience? It's going to be pretty clear that they're making sort of mind-boggling, head-scratching decisions, and it doesn't help when you perform like this in a press conference. I don't understand what the idea of blowing smoke in this situation, who that benefits. You know who's going 1-2. You and your quarterback, you obviously don't care about his feelings. You're basically telling him you're drafting his replacement. So might as well just tell us who you got because all this makes no sense.
Look, as far as I can tell, there is literally one person who thinks that Mac Jones is the guy that should go number 3 in this draft. And that one person seems to be Kyle Shanahan, who is the boss of everything but still works with other people. And you can't help but think, but everybody else is walking around there like, dude, what in the world is he talking about? John Lynch even kind of put it out there like, hey, I make the picks, but we're going to get Kyle the guy that he thinks fits best for him, which means Kyle Shanahan's the one that's making this pick. And would anybody else make this move? I have raised this point before and I'll raise it again. You know who I don't think would take Mac Jones over Justin Fields? Nick Saban. That's who.
Is it the right time for the Falcons to trade Julio Jones?
All right, Terry Fontenot's the new general manager for the Falcons. They did their pre-draft press conference yesterday, and the question was broached about whether or not they might be interested in trading Julio Jones. And the Falcons didn't close the door on that idea. They left it good and open, and I mean, why not trade Julio Jones becomes the question. I understand this. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. He's one of the great players in the history of the franchise. He's 32 years old. He's a dude with a big body, and he played 9 games last year. The question comes down to, do you think the Falcons can be a legitimate contender this year if everything breaks right? Not just can they make the playoffs, can they contend for a Super Bowl? Because if they can't, you can't assume that Julio Jones is going to get better. You can't assume that Matt Ryan at 35 is going to get better. It might be time to look toward the future, which reminds me, if there's a quarterback worth taking at 4 and the Falcons pass on it, that is malpractice. It is about time for the reset, and trading Julio Jones wouldn't be the worst idea. Sometimes you got to bet on the idea that the dude that's getting older is not a dude that's going to get better.
This gives me faith that there's some sort of honesty and just genuine nature, or actually just some sanity in football, at least when you compare it to the San Francisco 49ers situation, because no, a 4-12 team should not be considered a potential title contender the following year, not with major upgrades, right? So if you're drafting number 4, there's a reason for it. And if there's an opportunity to move forward from a quarterback who had the 16th best QBR, which is right smack dab in the middle and probably isn't working his way back up, then you probably want to do that. Like, I understand the idea if you want to get Kyle Pitts and give it one more go with Ridley and Jones and Pitts and say, hey, even Matt Ryan, we can move on from Julio Jones at 32 years old and still get something valuable back from him. So yes, this makes all the sense of the world. If Fontenot would have come out and said, no, I think we're close to a Super Bowl, then I would have said you got to fire this guy immediately and just blow up the whole organization.
Yeah, no, I don't think they could, in good faith, say anything even close to that. But this seems to be about how much change the Falcons are willing to tolerate right now. And for a lot of Atlanta fans, it might seem like identity change. Julio Jones, like Bomani said, is someone who's really beloved down there, has given a lot to that organization. But to me, all of it points to financially. They're in cap hell. And they just move money around with Matt Ryan for the next couple of years. So they've kind of indicated, all right, we know what the bank says about how we've got to treat this position. That's why I keep looking at 4 and thinking Kyle Pitts feels like the right amount of transition. If you want to deal Julio Jones, you've got another space alien that's stepping in, albeit in a slightly different role. You can start to, I think it would relieve about $15 million against the cap this year. You can start to bankroll that towards the future. But Matt Ryan, that number to me is too big to take a quarterback and potentially let him sit through 2 really valuable years of a rookie contract. This team is probably still not going to be great. I don't think you're losing too much opportunity cost passing up on a quarterback here at 4, knowing the trajectory of this team for all the reasons we mentioned.
And drafting Pitts would definitely soften the blow of losing Julio Jones when you've got a big body who can play opposite of Ridley, or even at the tight end position, probably even maybe play him a little bit at the wide receiver position. So I could see that sort of softening the transition some more than going the harsh way of saying, hey, we're going to take this quarterback, and Matt Ryan, you're just going to be a lame duck for the next couple of years.
Yeah, but I mean, it's football. It's kind of a harsh place. They did it to Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why Matt Ryan is above it.
Well, we are seeing how complicated that's about to get for Green Bay, because I saw Jordan Love trending with trade destination betting options being on the table. And it's not to say Matt Ryan's going to go out here and give you a 2018 or 2020, Aaron Rodgers MVP season, but these situations can get murky if you miss time to jump.
They did it to Brett Favre. I'm just saying they do it to literally everybody. They kind of did it to Peyton Manning. They did it to Tom Brady. They do it to everybody.
How should Kevin Love's teammates feel about him today?
Well, look, when the Cavaliers and this year's Raptors wind up in the A block of our television show, it's not because something good happened. Now, let's get a look here at Kevin Love.
Here's this play I was talking about. Just good hustle. What is Kevin Love doing?
He's just watching.
My goodness.
He's just watching.
I think he was batting it like batting it down to grab it.
That's like when the controller shuts off in 2K.
Yo, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that on an NBA court. And Love apparently has apologized to the team. The Cavs say that they're going to be able to move on and all of this stuff. But he is inclined toward a measure of petulance. And you got to keep in mind, this is a dude in his 13th year in the NBA. He is also someone who has told us about some of the struggles that he's had with mental health. But in the end, you got to be reliable no matter what the circumstances are. And one thing you should be able to rely on a guy for is that he's not going to literally quit in the middle of the game. And that's what happened right there.
Yeah, and he has said, and I'm glad you mentioned the stuff about his mental health that he has been so vocal about and been very supported about. And so, you just don't know whether that factors into how he can deal with, this long extended losing and everything else. But I'm not going to create excuses for him. You have to be the veteran. You signed the 5-year extension to be part of this rebuild. You have to be the guy that people look at as a veteran there. It's somebody that they can follow. And you mentioned the petulance, Bomani. He had, a little while ago where he had the chest pass that was clearly mocking his teammates for not passing the ball and running the offense. And this, while if you look at it and really break it down, it was an act of frustration that he batted in. He thought his teammate was going to be in position to get that batted ball, and he didn't. At that point, though, that's when you have to be the grown-up and say, okay, I screwed up, let me continue and at least try to play hard. When he's continuing the act here, that is an even worse one and probably a suspendable offense for, I guess, actions detrimental to the team. But I don't know if an apology is enough to his teammates. I think it's been consistent enough for his, for the last few years where they've been losing, where he is not a great teammate to have, and he is not somebody that you definitely want to follow here. So Cleveland definitely has an issue on its hands, and it's tough when you see that a guy who has won a championship, a guy who has been in the top 5 in MVP, has been basically in all the roles in the NBA, can't be happy or at least be happy about or helpful to his young teammates. It's really frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever seen over it so easily personified and so clearly personified by one player's actions. And I don't know if the rest of the team really likes him or if they all just realize resume-wise they can't step to him. But I was amazed to listen after the game in a league where players are usually pretty vocal to everyone treat this incident like John Cena. Like no one was really giving it a lot of time, air, or fuel in the post-game conversation around this. Yeah, it's inexcusable. From a team standpoint, I get it, the frustration. I'm also not going to go super far in the other direction. Like, I've seen the articles, all the wailing and gnashing of teeth about this. Like, this is also a guy that's in this situation. In the middle of this game, we're talking about he's getting beat up. This seemed to have a lot more to do with the refs than almost anything else going on with their team. But they're almost in 1-2-3 Cancun mode. I just couldn't help but see this through the lens of that Bad Girls Club TikTok movement where everyone's looking around here like, listen, you signed up for all this one. You got to act. And he's like, oh, really? You don't like the way this is going? I work for this team. This is not a great time for your boy right here. So, yes, I signed up to get paid and play basketball. I didn't sign up to get mollywhopped the way we've been through the course of this season.
A lot of guys have been put in bad situations. Brad Beal at the beginning of this year could have whined for as loud as he wanted to, and people were supporting him if he did whine. And what did he do? Made the best out of it, and now they're looking like one of those play-in teams in the East. I'm not saying that the Cavaliers could have been something, but this hasn't been a long enough stretch. Remember, he missed a lot of time a couple of years ago. It hasn't been a long enough stretch of this much frustration after winning a championship where you can act like this and just get away with it.
Yeah, but the weirdest thing is, and you kind of touch on it there, he still plays for them. Like, he is a bit outside of like a Brad Beal. Who's a better player in a situation like that either has not gotten himself out or his team does not want him out bad enough to make it happen? Like Brad Beal, at least he's selling tickets. Ain't nobody paying no money to see Kevin Love. How in the world is he still on that team?
Up next on HQ.
Like, it's the wildest thing when you see like a 3 or 4-year-old and you just realize, oh, they just can't catch, right? Ball hits them dead in the face. They just smile and laugh it off because you don't throw it hard enough to hurt them. Yep. And you realize, oh, wait, they just can't catch.
Phillies, give us Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN.
Do you question if the Timberwolves earned this victory or the Jazz choked?
Yo, the Timberwolves got on the show, and it's not just because Anthony Edwards did something funny. Anyway, check this out. Coming down to the end of the game here, Timberwolves Jazz. Yeah. That's a bad play there.
I mean, that right there. You see Rudy Gobert jump out to the perimeter for Karl Anthony Towns. That right there is exactly why nobody's afraid of the Utah Jazz, because they feel like they can scheme around Rudy Gobert, especially if he's going to do things like that. But the funniest thing I saw about this game winner from D'Angelo Russell, I think it was Bleacher Report who said D-Lo with the game winner, and it had a little snowflake on the end, like if it was cold. That wasn't cold. That was a layup of a blown defensive coverage. That was catch 1-2. He did. I mean, if he misses this, he's going to be on Shaqtin' a Fool for the rest of his life. This is just a gimme. Come on, it wasn't cool.
Yeah, that was not Dame time. No.
I just want to cut somewhere with the camera to Ben Simmons in full Birdman.gif, just rubbing his hands together going, oh, that's your defensive player of the year. Got it, Ben.
Do you question if this 5-year-old was assisted or betrayed by the person he was watching this Australian football game with?
All they told us is that it was Australian rules football. And for a brief moment of hearing that question, I thought he was going to tell me that they let 5-year-olds play this stuff. Here we go. Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Gotta say, that's terrible parenting all the way around. Right?
Twice. You didn't teach him how to catch, and then you put him up there knowing that he can't catch. That's 2 times the terrible parenting right there.
Hey, man, as a parent, all you can do is create opportunities for your children to succeed. Then you find out in those moments whether they got it or not. So they learned at an early age and probably saved themselves a lot of money that maybe that kid's future isn't something other than sports.
I feel pretty confident that there were other times that would have made them aware that this kid can catch, because that's just one of those things. Either you got it or you don't, man. Like, it's the wildest thing when you see like a 3 or 4-year-old and you just realize, oh, they just can't catch, right? Ball hits them dead in the face. They just smile and laugh it off because you don't throw it hard enough to hurt them.
Yep.
And you realize, oh, wait, they just can't catch. And, okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh! He caught one already. He caught one in the face.
I also contend that the part about this that we don't talk nearly enough about is horrible shot by dad. You're supposed to be trying to get a goal, right? Like, he's so bad at this that he kicked it dead into the goalie that happened to be his seed.
I thought you were going to say it was a celebratory spin move in the woo, even after seeing his son get hit in the face with the ball.
What was
That's the underrated part of this.
Presented by State Farm, Marvel's Arena of Heroes on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus.
Hey, while we're waiting, Duke's Mayo Bowl, what is that?
I
had just discovered Duke's Mayo over the last 3 years of my life.
Yeah, they sponsor a
better
bowl.
mayo.
So they sponsor what used to be the Belk Bowl, which had like the best Twitter presence of any of the like non-CFP bowl games. So they became Duke's Mayo this year, and they broke the trophy in the locker room after the game and then put a mayonnaise jar on top of it. And the fine folks at home field made a shirt to commemorate this historic occasion.
Yeah, I might not look it, but I am a Duke's Mayo connoisseur. I love it.
I never said it.
Tonight at 7:10 p.m. Eastern, A's and Rays.
A's just had like a 13-game winning streak not that long ago, which is when I learned they've been good for like 3-4 years now. Who knew? Anyway, let's go. Elvis Andrus come to the plate.
Kemp goes after the first pitch. Skies one.
There we go. There we go. Sorry, I didn't realize we were going to get all the way around for first base. Here we go.
Okay, so he's called out, and they go to review on this one. And on review, he's called out again.
Like, what size television are they looking at these reviews on? Because it just feels like they should be able to do a better job on some of these, right? Izzy, you intrigued?
I am. I watched that replay so close, like 10 times over, and you could make an argument that maybe the depth, the angle of the depth, you couldn't really see when the tag got on there. But that's the stuff that drives me nuts about these replays. It's when we've gone a little bit too far. I'm of the opinion that if it's seriously close, where if there's like dust by the plate or you can't tell if he touched his shirt, you just got to go with what the call was on the field. And this wasn't so egregious where I'm just like, oh, this game should be overturned or they should replay. Nah, just okay. It was a close call. Let's move on.
Mike, you intrigued?
No, I'm not intrigued. I think Major League Baseball needs to do the right thing here because these instances of replay have been coming up a lot. So just somehow find a way to shift the focus back to Dodgers-Padres. It's like the one universal good in Major League Baseball right now. So when in doubt, just give us another one of those games. Stop making them play other teams and focus on and maximize the one good thing you got going.
Terrible call, but that Tatis, huh? How about that guy?
Tonight at 9:40 p.m. Eastern, Padres and Diamondbacks.
All right, check this out from the Diamondbacks. They got a right fielder named Cole Calhoun. Now, this looks like a ball that he could catch. Oh! Got him.
Nope.
Right. That young man got him right there. There's Pound. And I understand why Calhoun did not catch that. That young man who caught it, his name is Cordell. Halfway there, Calhoun found that out, and he was like, wait, what? And he just got a little bit distracted. He had to catch up, and by the time he caught up, Cordell had the ball. Is you intrigued?
I don't think that's true at all, Bo. No, yeah, a little bit. Look, Calhoun got a lot of praise for, like, smiling and, giving him the fist bump and everything else, but what else is he supposed to do there? Is he supposed to pull a Moises Alou and just lose his bleep and just ruin this kid's life, and just be like, oh, I can't believe I did that? I mean, come on, yeah, that's a proper reaction.
I mean, it was a home fan who did it to Alou, not, the other team's people. Now, Golic, you intrigued?
I just appreciate that our newfound Cordell had the, foresight here to take advantage of the fact that guy was powerless, wasn't going to do anything. So he gave him a little ball flip. He gave him laugh right in his face, him and his mom. It looked like a great time for them, fully understanding the power they wield.
Yeah, I would not recommend leaning so hard on those kinds of assumptions, by the way. We haven't had a new Albert Bell in quite a while, but we might. All right, that is our show. Check out Izzy Gutierrez all week here on Highly Questionable. Mike Golic, 4 to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio, Chiney and Golic.
And check out The Right Time with Bomani Jones wherever you get your podcasts.
There we go. A little love from somebody.
Oh, that's what you're supposed to do.